I've never.
Buttons.
I've
There
never
are
In
no
this
held
buttons.
economy!
Hi, everybody. Welcome to tonight's episode of Ramblemancy. We're live apparently. Hi. I kind of got myself with that one too. Anyway, hey everybody. Welcome. What's up? What is up, my Ramble fam? I don't know why I said it like
What's
that.
up?
Yeah. Hey, we're just hanging out tonight. We're gonna be talking about revisiting old favorites, which is a thing that I've been doing lately. But yeah. Before we get into that, just some quick announcements, a couple of schedule updates for the week. First and foremost, there will be no In Too Deep this week. So Tuesday, there will not be an episode. But there may be some special surprises when we come back for In Too Deep. I will leave that up to them whether they want to divulge that ahead of time or not. But yeah. We will be back to Infinite Horizon this week. And I don't know why I'm announcing that. I just the one schedule update is the only one. It's that one. So, um, yeah. Uh,
It's good to see everybody in chat. Hi, Amethyst. Hi, Geekouts. And local.
so Cole Quinn. I don't know if you're still here, but thanks for dropping in. Have a good sleep.
Oh yeah, and thank you, Angel Citadel Play for the raid, for bringing your community over here. We
Yeah.
hope you had a good stream, and it's good to have you all around.
Okay. Well. Yeah. So, I guess we should just get in. I don't really have a lot of other announcements other than if you haven't already, you should fill out the Patreon survey, which is pinned in the suggestion box channel and will be linked in the chat or should be there now. So it's in there. It's right there. You should go do it. If you haven't done it already, you should do it. If you have done it, you should do it again. Don't do that. That's be very confusing.
Even if you do not plan to subscribe to our Patreon, we would still super appreciate just a couple minutes of your time, because the more data we have to adjust the benefits, the more cool stuff that we can bring to anybody who subs to us here on Twitch and also subscribes to our Patreon. So
Yes, Geek Outs, you too. That means you.
we want you.
That means that also means you. You know who you are. You know who I'm pointing at. You know. Anyway, yeah, that's all I got as far as big announcements go. So I think we should get into tonight's episode where we discuss old media favorites. And to get us started, John, what do I have for us tonight?
What do you have for us tonight,
That's right.
Lucas?
Today,
Interesting.
Today, the
well
bus
put.
has run over. The bus is on the other. How the buses have turned. Never mind. Today.
How the wheels on the bus have gone round and round, Lucas.
Okay, all
Anyway,
right.
that's the
then.
whole episode. That's the whole episode. Is me laughing at the dumbest joke I could have possibly made at the beginning of this. That's the whole episode today. No, I actually did have a thing to start us off with today, because it's mine that my sort of revisiting media and our conversation with Ray last week that sort of brought us here to this topic today. And for me, recently, I was rewatching. This is like a month or two ago. I rewatched Sword Art Online, and the fourth season just dropped on Netflix. So I just binged that in this past week. So, which was actually super convenient timing because it came out like right after I had already like watched the whole thing. So like I didn't have to be refreshed. I already knew what was going on. So when I first watched Sword Art, I was like, wow, this is really cool. And then after a while, I sort of started thinking about it, and I was like, okay, actually, this is pretty bad. But I would let the plot twist. It comes back around because I'm right back.
It has a redemption arc.
It has a redemption arc. It comes back around because now I completely, unironically love Sword Art Online. There was a lot more there than I thought, and a lot more there than Matt would have you believe.
Oh my
I'm sorry,
god.
I have to
What?
call out that series of comments in chat, which are nods sagely, girl in cage licking feet, and weird.
It is, yes. It's not
Second season of Sword Art for
right.
those who are.
Yeah. And look, in fairness, not in fairness, this is not a defense of that, but it is a just sort of pointing out that the weird person in question here was objectively the villain of that arc, okay? So like, and
Yeah.
he does, spoilers, get the shit kicked out of him. So like there is that.
Oh yeah.
Um
The
for
very end
that
of
and many other reasons. Um
the very end of season 2 of Sword Art Online, where that guy gets his comeuppance, is just so
Mhm.
it
cathartic.
truly um but no, like there was more to it than I originally like kind of gave it credit for. And all of like the arc after that, which is the like the Gun Gale online arc, is
Mhm.
very good. It's weird and dark and a little bit different than the like original arc, but I will say that everything that came after that, like from that point on, was just truly incredible. Like I loved it. I thought it was so good. Um, I don't remember what I was going to say about that, but basically, I think the point that I'm making here is that like it kind of got me thinking about like what are some other things that like just sort of things that we as after like our conversation with Ray last week where we talked about things that we had gone back to and like thought we were going to just truly we thought that we were going to be great, but then we actually ended up just being like, whoa, God, what is this? You
Mhm.
know, and vice versa. I was kind of thinking about having that conversation tonight. Well, I think we can get as far
Okay.
as we get with that conversation, and then if we don't have anything more to say on it, because it's very likely that we'll just say one or two things and then have nothing more to say about this, and then we could just sort of move on and continue about our ramble. But
Mhm.
I figured this was a good place to start.
Oh my god. I think the thing that comes to mind for me actually that I sort of revisited by proxy through one of my roommates, Donkey Kong Country, where like I remember playing the shit out of that game on Super NES, and just like loving the hell out of it. It was such a good time, and then returning to it, and watching my roommate play through it. I was like, oh my god, this is goofy as hell. Like, as a child, I enjoyed this game so much, but like the gameplay has not held up. There is some
Yes.
stuff that I was just like watching them struggle. I was like, oh god, no, I do remember dying to that. And now, like, having being the person that I am now, and having played the amount of video games that I've played now, if I was sitting there watching that, like, I know Desi that if I played this, I would fucking hate it now.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's like any that I've played, video games specifically that I've like played that I used to play that I've played recently that I'm just like that I just hated, and I don't think so. I think I still enjoy most of the games that I played when I was younger. Um yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Geekette says Masters of the Universe movie from 1987,
All right.
as in something that you have returned to that has been less than stellar, or something that you've returned to and it's like, oh yes, no, this is great, like still excellent.
Sorry, Freeman, what were you going to say?
it'll no,
Okay,
no,
I understand.
nope. It's not there.
Cool. Both horrible. Yeah, okay,
Horrible.
great. Horribly excellent.
Horribly excellent.
Okay.
It's still good, but it's now good for different reasons, right? Like, you appreciate like the nostalgia and like the place that it held in your childhood, but at the same time you're also like, this is so bad. Dune 1984. I've seen pieces of the 1984 Dune, and I will say only about that Dune that they sure did do their best, given what they had available to them at the time. Monster Squad 1987. Wolfman has nards. Direct quote.
Ah, I see.
Oh.
But a separate thing,
Mm-hmm.
since I can't remember the thing I was going to say. I will say that I rewatched and enjoyed the Page Master with Macaulay Culkin as
Oh,
the
okay.
little boy is playing Richard Tyler. Um, and also, I didn't even know that Sir Patrick Stewart was in that, as well as Adventure, the book, because basically, like, the little boy Richard goes into like, basically gets knocked out, wakes up, and then becomes like a part of like the animation world, and then is led through this quest by anthropomorphic books, one of which is like Adventure, which is a pirate, like a cutthroat pirate who's also it's like a super sweetheart played by Sir Patrick Stewart, sorry, and other character and other actors that I cannot remember the name of. But I watched that and I thoroughly enjoyed watching this little boy go on this adventure when he's so scared of everything in real life. And he like guards that by being like bringing up the statistics of everything that could be like a risk, and he uses that as a cover for just being afraid of everything. But he goes on this massive adventure with like an adventure book, a fantasy book, and also my favorite, a horror book, which I think is amazing because it's a very like timid, scared book, which I think is amazing for a horror book, not to be like scary and like in your face and aggressive, but actually be very timid and always frightened and just a super sweetheart. And at the end, he makes it to the exit because it's all about making his way through this library that he gets, because basically the way that it starts is his father sends him on an adventure to pick up nails for a treehouse, and then he gets stuck in a storm, has to go to a library because that's where he might find a payphone. But the librarian is like, I'm going to send you on this. Here's a library card, and then that's where the whole quest goes on. He has to go through the entire library to make it to the exit, and he makes it. And the final test is like going through like fighting a dragon. He makes it through, and he makes it on the other side, and he gets to take 3 books home with him. And I just loved the whole story. I wasn't sure how I'd feel about it, but I loved it to pieces. I especially love the horror segment because I'm a big fan of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So yeah, that was one of my
piece of like dark romantic literature.
Absolutely,
it's dark romantic, right?
I would call it, depending on who's right. Yeah, actually, a little bit. I would say so.
Yeah,
and
it's interesting because like I'm thinking about, because I also just recently started rewatching all of Gotham. Because like Gotham is one of those shows that like I think I started watching it when only like the first like 1.5 seasons were out, and then from then on I pretty much just sort of watched it episode to episode, week to week, and now I'm like, you know what? I just kind of want to watch it like all together basically and see, because it's hard to tell if it like is a natural progression through it, or if like they just suddenly went hard into the comic book elements of the show, right? If they just took a wild left turn and just leaned into it. It's hard to tell when you're watching it week to week. But so I want to watch it all, like just to see if it like holds up that way. But I have nothing conclusive to say about it right now, other than the first season is so fucking good. It's so good. I love that it is basically like, it still has like the comic book over the top kind of stuff in it, but like manages to remain very grounded, which I think is cool and hard to do. But yeah.
Yes, Christopher Lloyd is the librarian, I believe.
Oh, hell yeah. Also, hi, Rose.
Rose, hello.
Hello.
But yeah, so like let's see. season 1 before Batman, a show without the Bat. Every season after, fine, you got baby Batman. I mean, that's sort of true. I think the thing with a prequel for something so, like with a prequel series for something so iconic as Batman, is that you sort of, there's not really a way to get around it, right? You kind of, at a certain point, you start having to either recycle storylines from the comics into like earlier and earlier times, and then when you do that, that's a pretty slippery slope, because then you want the timelines to like kind of match up a little bit, but like it's also Bruce Wayne is like 12, so like having some of these like origin stories from the comics, it just doesn't quite work, so you got to start kind of shoving that together. I don't know, I think um like they tried to sell the show without Batman, but then they like put more Batman Junior stuff in it. Yeah, I mean, I guess, but like I also think that some of that stuff worked. Like it worked. It wasn't bad. I would say it's not what they originally advertised, but I wouldn't say I didn't think it was bad. Well, I can't say that definitively because again, it's hard to have like a really clear perspective on the show when you're watching it one episode at a time, a week apart. So
Mm-hmm.
for years. Um,
Yeah.
but I agree. I did love Alfred. Their version of Alfred was very different than what I had come to expect from the character. So I really liked that. Like that kind of like harder, kind of tougher Alfred, not so much the classic like Jeeves Butler, you know. Very much like yeah. We got Alfred Pennyworth, the ex British special forces. Like was it? Because like he was SAS, ex SAS
Mm-hmm.
or something like that. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
remember. Anyway, we got that Alfred, which I think was incredible. It was an incredible choice on their part.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Absolutely.
Also, I see hello, Edgefit and Orange. It's good to see both
Hi.
of you. How are y'all doing
Hello.
tonight? We are talking about old media favorites, and currently, like, you know, things that we revisited and have enjoyed or have not enjoyed. Cole has a hot take.
Uh, Speaking of old media, I prefer the first Full Metal Alchemist anime over Brotherhood. The story was so much more dramatic in my mind. Can't add to what's being talked about because I didn't see it, so I leave you with a random thought. Fair enough. I didn't see that one either. Either one of those.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I've heard many people say kind of the same thing. So, yeah.
Hmm. I'm in the camp of like having only seen Brotherhood because like everybody always tells you when you're going to be like, oh, I hear a lot about Full Metal Alchemist. What should I watch? And everyone just goes, just watch Brotherhood. It's the better one. And so like that's kind of what I wound up doing. And I
Mm-hmm.
watched a good chunk of Brotherhood, which I enjoyed. Um, Boy, there's some punches. Uh, the, the homunculus. Oof. Everyone who's seen Brotherhood knows exactly the bit I'm talking about, but those people are wrong.
Also,
See,
sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I will have to go and watch some of like the first Full Metal Alchemist anime at some point because I am kind of curious now to see what the difference between the two is like.
Yeah. Rose, I agree with you. But I am somebody who did not watch Buffy a long time ago. I watched it post college, I think, is when I started, somewhere in there, and I couldn't. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't get through it. Like, I just can't. I couldn't get through it. I actually, weirdly, I liked Angel a lot more, like the show, not the character. I couldn't care less about the character. I like the show more, but like I also that got to a point. The reason I stopped watching Angel is because they started crossing over with Buffy, and so like I got ahead with Angel, and then in order to understand what was going on, I had to watch Buffy. So then I tried to catch up with Buffy, and then I just couldn't get through it anymore. So I just stopped watching both of them, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I never went back. Um,
Do you watch Bones? Because I know it's the same actor. I'm just wondering if you
yeah,
watched Bones
I
too.
never did watch Bones, although a lot of people have suggested it to me. I don't know. I'm not usually a
Yeah.
big fan of like the police procedural type shows, you know. Even though I
Yeah,
understand Bones is a little like sort of tries to do its own take on the police procedural genre, I just don't
but
love
it's
that.
still there. I
Yeah.
mean, Gotham did it better. because you were talking about Gotham, there's definitely like an aspect of it there, but you're still going into the underworld of Gotham. So I really appreciate that
Yeah.
more because
Mhm.
it's more on their side of things and how like
Exactly.
Penguin becomes Penguin and how like all the,
Yes. Um,
classic baddies become baddies.
Edge of Fit, are you talking about Dark Angel? Or Dark, is that what it was called? Dark Angel, something like that. The Jessica Alba one. I feel like that's the one you're talking about. I never finished that one either. Um, okay, cool. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, things that I think Gotham did super well. Casting, first of all, was
True.
incredible. But secondly, come on, the Penguin is incredible. He's such a good character. You love
Mhm.
him and you hate him and you love to hate him. Like he's just
Mhm.
so good.
True.
Um, they did a great job of okay, you've heard me rant before about like the Star Wars prequels and how they did the foreshadowing on like Anakin Skywalker, like, "Ooh, what's gonna happen? Why is he so like dark and angry? What could possibly happen?" When the emphasis should have been like, "Wow, this guy becomes Darth Vader? How does that happen?" Right? Gotham is a great
Mhm.
example of doing that correct with the Riddler, with Edward Nigma, because you just
Yes.
love the guy so much. Like you just want to hug him but the whole time it's heartbreaking because the whole time and it's just yeah.
I'm so angry, but also very proud of the comic writers for his name,
Mm-hmm.
E
Yes.
Enigma.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Put the pencil down.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, it gets even better because he's
Mm-hmm.
sometimes referred to as Mr. E. Mi-
Wow.
Okay,
yep.
you can pick the pencil back up. That's pretty fucking good.
Mr. E Nigma.
Wow. Okay, no, I rescind that. I'm not mad anymore. That's incredible.
Yeah, that's like
No, you can't do better than that. I take it back.
yeah.
John the character was created in 1948 and they did an incredible job. I've walked it back on my previous outrage about Enigma,
Yeah.
the Mr. E and Enigma,
Mm-hmm.
all of that together. Mwah, love it.
Yeah. No, but I like that's a good example of doing prequel
Mhm.
well because they made you just love like he's weird and maybe he makes you uncomfortable sometimes, but like overall he's lovable and harmless. So, but you know that he becomes the Riddler. It's
Mm-hmm.
heartbreaking because you want only good things for Ed, but you know what's coming, and that's what they should have done. Um, sometimes I mean, okay, obviously as things progress he starts doing some murders and that's not what that's not the time that I was referring to when I'm like, oh, he makes you uncomfortable sometimes. I mean, yeah. uh anyway, even so they still did a really good job of just also Victor Zaz is an incredible character. Anthony
True.
Carrigan did an incredible Victor Zaz. So good.
Mm-hmm.
Another character that you're like, this is not a good guy, but I fucking love this character. Um,
There was a day, I'm not sure what year it was. I forget what year it was
I
at
know
this
what you're gonna
point. Maybe
say.
it was 2017, maybe,
Uh huh.
or earlier. But it was one of the years where I shaved my whole head and a whole, maybe and whole beard.
Mm-hmm.
And at that, I don't know what it was, if it was the lighting or that particular day, I looked exactly like
Yeah.
Zaz, like the actor who
Freeman sent me
plays
a photo.
Zaz.
He sent me a photo, and it looked he like Freeman was like a dead ringer for Victor Zaz. It was great. It was amazing.
I have the
Oh my God,
picture
incredible.
on my phone of both, like there's a picture of Victor Zaz. He's got that smile and
Mm-hmm.
he's got his hands like just kind of resting on his collar or
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, and then I have a picture of me that's just so similar. And I really want to like sew them together and just show you guys. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
Corporate needs you to tell them the difference between these two pictures. They're the same
They're the
picture.
same picture. Yeah. Um. Yeah. No. That's Anyway, that's enough of ranting about Gotham, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
It is a good show.
it is. Yeah, it is.
There's been God, Amethyst. You're really I hung out with Amethyst this afternoon. Like you're really on a roll today, friendo. You're really on a roll today. On a roll. Sorry, I'll see myself out. That was really bad. I'm just gonna.
Wow.
Well,
Wow. This
hey, John, what happened to your elevator? I thought you had an elevator over there.
Oh yeah, no, I just decided to take the stairs today.
You got stairs and an elevator? Man,
well,
it's one or the other for me. I don't know why that was a reference to a couple weeks ago or last week. I don't remember.
This is just a very silly reference to a bit that we did. We did last time. I took the elevator back in.
Lucas is so done with our asses. This is so done. Oh.
Have they fixed the stairs over in your place, Freeman, or are those still kind of like wonky and dark?
Well, no, they're pretty. Yeah, they haven't fixed them.
Yeah.
Pretty bad.
So anyway, there's been a lot of discussion around our circles, I feel like recently and in adjacent communities, and I'm trying so hard not to crack here. There's been a lot of conversation in and around our circles recently about Lord of the Rings as well, and I feel like that's a particularly good one to bring up tonight in this context as well, like the original like the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
That's interesting because I am very. Recently I was like starting to feel like, all right, it's maybe feeling like it's. I think it's maybe been over a decade since I've watched all of those movies, so I think it's maybe like time for a rewatch. It's getting there, so
I agree.
yeah. I it's one of those they're one of those like they're those films one of those films that you watch a lot, not like consistently, but like over a period of time watch them a lot, and or pieces of them a lot, but then and then you just get to a point where you just can't anymore. But now I think I'm getting past that point, and I think I could now.
Yeah. I think I am kind of at the point where I do also want to rewatch them because I remember in another Discord that I'm in, like had a movie night and it was one of the options. It didn't it like it wasn't the one that we picked, but I did see Fellowship of the Ring on there. I was like, oh, I haven't watched Fellowship of the Ring in years, like probably like 5 or 6 at this point. And like the last time that I watched any of those films, like I could honestly say that that's one of those classics that I don't feel bad about like recommending that people you should watch that sometime. Like it's genuinely still worth the watch, I think, in like 2022. Just because it's a good piece of cinema. Like it was hailed as like as groundbreaking, like as like incredible as it was at the time for how like kind of groundbreaking it was in terms of like the things that they were able to do with it between I think like CGI and some of the practical effects.
Yeah, they literally invented CGI technology for the Lord of the Rings. Like
that's right.
Specifically the like everybody fucking knows this. Like everybody watched the same special features I did. Like the CGI and like AI that ran the battles. Like that ran the like armies, and
God, those scenes still like those battle scenes on like the fights between armies have held up so well. Like it's kind of a little bit staggering to me how well some of that has held up. Like it's a little wild to me.
And then add to that like all of their like incredible prop work that Weta did, like
yeah, the practical effects in that movie are
they literally built like to scale like parts of Minas Tirith. That still blows my mind.
Yeah,
I love that too.
that is wild to me that they're just like, oh yeah, hold on, fucking hold my beer. We're gonna construct pieces of
Yeah,
Minas Tirith.
but then and then they also constructed like a smaller scale version of Minas Tirith too, because like my favorite is like watching some of the behind the scenes and seeing them walk around in it, and it's like Minas Tirith but for hobbits, and it's very good. It's yeah.
And I know this speaks to my love of like explosions and shit, but like they did build like a large mini set of like Helm's Deep to like film the explosion
That's right.
when they one Urukai when they set up the explosion at the weak point, and that one Urukai berserker or whatever they are called with the torch is running towards it and like blows that whole like wall inward. They actually had set up real explosions for that, which I love that.
Yeah, yeah. No, there's so much cool shit that they did with that, and like, yeah, if you have not somehow watched any of the like behind the scenes stuff for Lord of the Rings trilogy, I highly recommend that you do. It's some very very cool stuff.
Especially if you love like concept art, because there was like dozens of concepts before the actual like everything came together and they decided what was going to be the Lord of the Rings in this world. There was so much art for like Smeagol or Gollum. There was so much art for how like what the mines of Moria looked like, and just architecture. I just so much. Yes, watch that. Watch it all.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah. Again, like it's not like any personal, it's not like any kind of personal failing if you haven't watched those movies yet. But this is generally one of those classics that it is worth going back and watching. Like it's not like somebody's gonna, I mean, if somebody does try to take your nerd card away, they're an asshole. But like you know, it's not like, oh, revoke your nerd card if you haven't seen this. It's just like, no, it's just genuinely good. Like go watch it.
It's one of those things where it's like, as far as I'm concerned, the books, I'm like, if you read them, don't read them, whatever. As far as the movies are concerned, I mean, same, but also like it's worth watching the movies just for the sake of what they are. Like, forget that they are an adaptation of like a hugely popular fantasy series, and in many ways the progenitor of a lot of modern fantasy. But like it's worth seeing on that basis, but it's also worth seeing just on the basis of the fact that it's like what a huge and like complex endeavor it was, and just as a piece of like cinematic history.
Yeah.
Because I think those movies like almost kind of mark like a little bit of a tipping point in as you put it, cinematic history. So
yeah, absolutely.
I do also think that Edge of Fit is right, that like the things that they did in the were groundbreaking, probably have rarely been done as well since, and probably hasn't actually been topped for the big battle scenes. But yeah, I think that's probably true. And if it's not, then like I have not seen it or been aware of it, or maybe I'm forgetting something. But yeah.
No, I do kind of feel the same way about that. Like, I don't know that I have seen another piece of media, fantasy or not, that has topped like the big battle scenes in the Two Towers and Return of the King. Like, I don't know that I've seen anything that's done it better.
Yeah.
The Battle of Helm's Deep is just so.
My favorite fun fact, and then we'll like move on from Lord of the Rings. But my favorite fun fact about the Battle of Helm's Deep is when they were building the CGI and the AI to control the like battlefield. Right. At one point, there was like some like they were running the scenario in the like 3D editor, and they were just like running it, and all of a sudden they're like watching it. It's all proceeding, and then they like look at the background, and they see just a bunch of orcs just running away. Like running off the battlefield, like not even fully rendered, just like running off the battlefield, which makes me laugh every time I think about that, because it's just like the AI decided like, these guys, you know what? I've run the calculations. These guys are fucking done. They're out of here. Like they want no part of this.
The AI was just like, I have done the 4D chess, and I feel like some of these guys have done the math in their head. They're like, wait, why do they keep talking about Gandalf the Wizard? I've heard of that guy. I'm getting out of here, man.
Fuck out of here. Yeah. Hi, Ellie.
Hi, Ellie. It's good to see you.
These particular orcs are little bitches. I mean, they're called the fighting Urukai, not the running the fuck away Urukai. So I can agree.
You know
with
what?
that.
Maybe these Urukai really just had a powerful compulsion to go and open a chain of bakeries somewhere else. Like they were just like, we were.
Yeah. Also valid, Rose. Run before the forest gets here. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Run before this becomes the plot of Macbeth.
True. Urukai. Bye. Incredible. Edge of it wins.
Oh my god. God. Oh, that's a good one. Urukai, more like Urubai. Yeah.
Absolutely incredible.
Oh god, no, I'm so sad that Freeman stepped away exactly as that joke
Me
was
too.
made. Oh, incredible. But yeah, anyway, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, definitely worth going back and watching. Animated, the old animated Hobbit movie, also worth watching. The new largely animated Hobbit movies, because CGI,
they're okay. I think that they are. Here's my hot take about about the live action Hobbit movies. I think they are better than people give them credit for. I don't think they're good, but I think they're better than people give them credit for. And what we have on our hands here is a Nickelback situation, where like it is hugely popular to criticize and shit on the Hobbit movies, and I think they are bad. Don't get me wrong, they are bad, but I do not think that they are getting like they. I think they are getting more shit than they strictly deserve. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'll agree with Hobbit, the live action Hobbit movies being the Nickelback of the fantasy cinematic universe. I'll agree with that.
That is a good neutral statement, because it's a statement that means different things to whoever hears it and however they interpreted it. You know what?
Because somebody's going to be that and hear that and be like, fuck yeah, man, I love Nickelback.
And somebody's going to hear that and be like, yeah, man, Nickelback sucks. And, it's just...
and then some people are going to be like, oh yeah, those guys that I kind of forget about that I kind of forget existed. Is that one by Nickelback? Creed? Like, I can't remember. They all kind of sounded the same.
For movies made without any pre-production, they're fine, I guess. You know what? Fair. Exactly. Yeah. Some movies that I want to revisit, that I've been wanting to revisit recently, and I did actually find them again, is Mythica. They're like, I don't even know what, like, but they're basically like, there's actually some familiar GNS folks, Geek and Sundry folks in those movies, and yeah, like you can find some of those and some of those people in there, and like for example, Matt Mercer is in there, playing like an evil necromancer, which is very cool. And let's see, like Melanie Stone from We're Alive, Frontier. So yeah, like there's like some like really, there's some like familiar faces in there, but I like them because they're like B movie. They are perfectly that like the genre that I love, the like kind of 80s pulp fantasy, like campy kind of movies, but they're made in 2015 and onward. So like there's like 5 of them too. They're great, and I really want to rewatch them soon to see how they hold up now. But yeah.
Yeah, I've watched maybe 3 of them, but yeah, I don't think we watched them all.
No,
together,
I watched them all, and then I was rewatching them with you, and I think we only got through 2 or 3 of them. Yeah,
2 or 3. Yeah.
My hot take is that the Aragon books weren't as good as the hype. I agree, Rose, because they are literally Star Wars.
Yep.
The first book, literally Star Wars: A New Hope.
I remember, Lucas,
Wow.
you were the one. You were the one who took just like a pin to that little soap bubble for me. Like because I I hadn't quite realized it, Lucas, and then you were like, Aragon is literally just a new hope, and then you walked me through it for
Mm-hmm.
about 90 seconds, and I was like, oh shit. Oh shit, you're right.
I'm not saying it's bad, Edge of Fit. I'm saying that like it was given so much praise that it didn't deserve because it was like it was Star Wars.
Yeah, I think the truth about Aragon is that it was an incredibly good book for being a book written by a 16-year-old. Um, like, you know, I read it when I was a teenager and I super enjoyed Aragon and Eldest, and
Mhm.
then I tried rereading that series halfway through college, and I had reread them quite a few times as a teenager, and I just like could not make it through them again. And I had found that a lot of my nostalgia for that series departed a little bit when I was like, oh yeah, no, this is Star Wars, and B, this is definitely written by a 16-year-old.
Yeah. Which like not to say that's not
Yeah,
impressive, but
yeah,
like also sometimes there were word choices in those books that like made it sound like he just pulled another word out of a thesaurus. So like pulled a big word that did not fit in the sentence out of a thesaurus, and it was rough.
yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, Aragon and the inheritance cycle were a huge part of
Mhm.
my like fantasy consumption as a child. I read and reread those books. Like as a teenager, I read and reread those books so many times, and I love them. And I still sometimes do kind of make homages to them in like or like revisit them in my head. But I don't think it's a series that like I personally
Yeah.
will ever
Oh
revisit
no, like
again.
I loved I loved the first book so much when it
Mm-hmm.
came out and I read it. It was so good. I'm kind of in the same camp as Rose here, where I just sort of got bored by the end of the second book, and then it was so long from that book to the third book that I didn't super care anymore by the time I got around to finally reading the third book. And then I don't even think I read the fourth one. I don't even think I read the fourth one. So, yeah, because by that point I was really bored and I just didn't really care anymore. But yeah,
I like Ellie says I like them, but you would not find that at all surprising if you looked at my fan fiction history. And I'm going to go out and say a thing here, which is that just like fan fiction and fan art in general does not imply anything about the quality of the fiction or the art. There are a lot of people. It's just who's publishing it and where.
Mhm.
There are a lot of people who write fucking so much more and post it for free on AO3 and everything else that are incredibly talented writers, very skilled writers who just fucking do it for fun. And there is a certain
Mhm.
amount of people, Tamsin Muir, who start writing fanfic and are now incredibly successful published authors. So like, you know, just because it's fanfic doesn't
yeah.
inherently make it
Also,
worse.
Rose, this is completely fair. My challenge is that any new book has to be more interesting than rereading Tamara Pierce. So yeah, I that's fair. That's completely fair. Um, that's kind of been one of my hangups reading new books is I'll start reading them, and if I like and like I'll start reading them and I'll just be like, you know, it's not as good as insert several other books that I've loved over the years, and then I'm just like, I'm just gonna go. Why would I keep reading this when I could just go reread that? And yeah, um,
Yeah, I'll say too, like, I think one thing, because this is another conversation that was kind of happening that I heard a part of the other day in a different chat, just talking about like reading and how much less I read now. But I do find that when I do read, I really enjoy myself. Whether it's something that I've read before or it's something new, I have sort of embraced the joy of just going like, you know what, I don't want to read this, and being okay with that. Like, and getting over that guilt of being like, oh, I don't read like a book a week anymore like I did when I was a kid. Like, that's okay.
Nobody does, because when you're a kid, you haven't got shit else to do. So
Yeah. And like, to be fair, my roommate reads about a book a week, maybe sometimes more. Sometimes he'll put away like 5, but like reading is his hobby, and he's also a bookseller. So like,
Mhm.
um,
Yeah.
but yeah, like I have been much happier since I absolved myself of feeling bad that I wasn't reading as many like novels as I used to.
I also think the thing that ruined it for me a little bit is that when I was working at the bookstore, um, I had to, for my as part of my job, had to do like contribute to a staff recommendations every month, which meant that I had to read at least one book a month as part of my job, which meant that I was reading for my job, which meant that I was not reading for any other reason.
Right.
And it was like basically having a staff mandated book report every month, and it sort of ruined. It didn't ruin the like reading period for me, but it did. Uh, it made it a lot harder for me to like be into it. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I write a lot less for fun now, unless like I have a lightning strike moment for stuff. And even then I tend to focus on lightning strikes that I can maybe put up on my itch page or something later. But just because like, I don't know, I write for work now. And as much fun as it is, I already do a lot of it during the week. So
Mm-hmm.
I have much less of that energy and desire to do it like outside of the bounds of work. So I can definitely see like having to, you must read a book a month and then write a book report about it for a job. Like,
It's not great. It's not great. Listen, as a book nerd and inside kid as a child, I didn't even like doing book reports in school. Why would I want to do one now? Like now,
Right.
and also have a job be on the line as to whether or not I do them. Like,
that's a whole other
it's
level
like
of
we're
stress
gonna
because
take
like
this thing that you hated when you were a child, and we're gonna make it worse.
yeah, yeah.
And also, you
Oh my,
have to do it.
yeah. Like, and that's, to me that's so much worse because like we were both English majors. To me that's so much worse than doing like literary analysis
Yeah.
of a book, because literary analysis like is like less topical to me. Like, it's interesting, I kind of get to choose which lens I am engaging with here, but like the kind of
Right.
book report format is very
And
solved.
also like sometimes I read a book and I'm like, yeah, I thought that was good. And then I have to write something, but then I have to write something more in depth than read book, good. Like I have to write something more in depth than that. Um,
I do. There's a bookstore that I was in up here a few months ago, Majors and Quinn, that did something that I really liked. That they have like, they just basically have like little cards and stuff and like pieces of paper, like they've kind of like slipped onto shelves. Because I was perusing the manga section, which will get surprise no one in here, but like they had like staff recommendations with like names of the staff on there. So like, and then like they had written not like a whole ass like
right.
fucking newsletter about
Yeah.
it, but they'd written like just like 2 or 3 sentences about like,
I'm pretty
yeah,
sure
if you like this thing, or if you enjoy this kind of thing, then this is the book for you. Maybe like a sentence about the plot or something, which I thought was really cute. I liked that.
Yeah. No, legitimately, like I think even Barnes and Noble does that. Like where they have like the little like staff recommended, and then it'll have like the person's name or whatever. Um but yeah, no, like I had to write like a whole like a long like paragraph at least. That's what I had to write.
Oh my god, ain't nobody got time for that.
I'm just like, listen, just leave me alone. Like just shut the lights off and let me read my book in the dark with a flashlight in peace.
Yeah, I know.
Like
Just like,
they open the book, be like, hey Lucas, have you done your staff review yet?
Yeah, like peeking under the covers, like, what you doing under there, bud?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Oof.
How to make book
Wow.
reports worse. Step 1, add a pinch of capitalism. I mean, yeah, exactly.
How to make anything worse. A
Truly.
pinch of like, you get to the bottom of the recipe and
Yeah.
you're like, a pinch of capitalism. Now I hate this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, Amethyst. As soon as I have to do it, I can't. Reading things for fun, I will gladly make a coherent hour-long PowerPoint straight from my ass. Yeah, like exactly. Like, when listen, as a person with ADHD, I will just say hyperfixation is a hell of a drug.
I spent 2 full whole ass hours on my stream yesterday ranting about the entire deeply xenophobic lore of the Metroid universe. Not because I mean, like 10% because I had to, and 90% because the donation goal was a flimsy excuse for me to go buy a giant corkboard to do that. Hold on, I still have the corkboard.
Oh, I do love a corkboard.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Yeah, Ellie, that is a mood. I very, very much understand that. Like Ellie says, sadly, this can apply to art too. I tried going the commission route before, and I couldn't continue because at that point I had already agreed and had to. Yes, I feel ya. As genuinely, as soon as something feels like I have no choice but Jesus Christ. As soon as something feels like I have no choice but to do it, then like it starts to lose its luster for me.
Yeah.
John, what do you have for us? I'm trying to look for my. I don't have. I can't right now.
I've known you for a really long time now. Like, we have been friends for almost a decade, and I have known you for a bit more than that.
Yep.
And somehow, I am still shocked that you actually have a real, actual string corkboard for this. And it was
That's like
not
something
just
I would
a
have.
bit. Like, it wasn't just a bit. Like, you literally have an actual... The effort that would take. Like,
It's amazing.
Even hyperfixated. Look, for me, absolutely impossible. Because, yes, I might end up being hyperfixated, but that would still require me to write things down on a piece of fucking paper, okay? And then it would require me to put them in some sort of coherent order, and then it would force me to do yet another thing that I can't do, which is use scissors in any meaningful way. So then to take that, and then, John, I would have to find thumbtacks. Then I would have to find thumbtacks.
I got you, brother. I got you, brother. I got you.
Then I would have to walk 2 feet to Freeman's house
right here,
and
baby.
get thumbtacks.
Right here, baby. I got you. Multiple colors, too. Color code this fucker.
I even got ones that are little succulents.
I'm out of here. All right, that's a wrap.
Hold on, just...
Wow. We really do have some really amazing bits here on the show. We really do. And they're all...
Get that the fuck off shot. Out of the shot, John. Don't look at me. Do not talk to me. Just don't... A goddamn conspiracy court. Get the fuck out of here.
Amazing. Wow.
Jesus.
I know my favorite part of making that conspiracy corkboard was cutting the red string and looping it around the part where I had pinned Apex Jello Predator to lost powers. And then also another string down to Bird Troid ?
You've just given me a terrible idea.
A lot of that going around on this stream tonight.
Lucas disconnects John from the stream. Wow. just a nasty snowstorm in southern Minnesota, and now John just won't be able to make it for the final 28 minutes of the stream. No, I did for literally 2 hours.
Right down to the minute.
Yeah.
Wow. Are we on the same time or what?
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, no, I did fully spend a lot of time doing that yesterday, which was very fun and very cathartic for me. I made about 8 of those note cards in advance, and the rest were made during the stream.
See, that's another thing. Then on top of that, you'd have to do something in advance. Not a thing I do. So like,
yeah, I'm gonna offer a peek behind the curtain for this one. Here's the prep I did for that stream. I ordered the corkboard off of Amazon, and then or some office supply website. I think it actually is where I got it from. And then I went the day of. I drove my ass out and I picked up the thumbtacks, the red string, and the the thumbtacks and the red
too
string,
much,
and the easel, which is now disassembled in my closet, that I set the corkboard on, and then I sat down with the chronology on the Metroid wiki, and I put that on this screen, and I made about 8 note cards, and I pinned 4 of them to the corkboard, and then I blacked out for 2 hours.
John, baby, I'm gonna have to take a nap. Shit, fuck. Good night.
Yep. Timely sip from the mug.
Yeah, there were a lot of timely sips from the mugs, and me staring into the camera going, I don't know why they made this choice, but they did.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, speaking of media that I've revisited frequently from my childhood, that's one that I spent a lot of time yesterday disassembling a functioning easel. Sacrilege. I would hesitate to call that easel functioning, Ellie, because they gave me 5 points at which to attach a wing nut to secure all of the pieces so that it would stand up. And there were only 4 wing nuts included. So I had to choose which piece I thought was least likely to cause the collapse of the entire assembled easel, and not put a wing nut on that one, and then hope it didn't fall over.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I can't remember why I began to bring that stream up, or like what I did. There was a point in me doing that, and then we got so lost in Lucas being deeply disappointed.
I said something about hyperfixation is a hell of a drug, and creating when you have to create.
Oh yeah, right. No, I think like I was just going to use that kind of as a point in favor of like when it's so much different when you're being like compelled to create, whereas that was just like mostly a flimsy excuse for me to do something I already wanted to do, which is I think what made it so successful. Like if somebody was like, John, I'm going to pay you however much to go out and make like an Unraveled episode style stream on this subject, I would have so much of a harder time doing that.
I would see. That's why this is a thing that I've said about myself many times. Like, this is in any situation I can think of, academically, like in school or at jobs or whatever. I either need very specific, down to like the last minute detail of instructions, or 0 instructions at all, nothing. It has to be one or the other. I cannot have an in between. I do not operate that way. So like if somebody were to say like you must create this specific thing on this specific topic, I'd have a problem with that. I think I'm just now like understanding why I had trouble in school. Anyway, like, but if somebody were to say on the other hand, hey, I need you to create a thing of your choosing and get it done by this time, different story altogether, right? Like,
Yeah.
which is again why I think I had a much easier time writing my senior paper than I did writing and literally any other paper in college.
Yeah, because you got to choose with your senior paper. You got to go like, okay, this is what I'm going to write about. This is what I'm going to make my like kind of capstone research project.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, it's I didn't actually have a follow up to that. I just making noise.
Me too. Ramblemancy.
Oh my god. You don't have spare wing nuts lying around, John? Amateur.
I,
Of the many stores that are near me, a craft store or a
hardware store.
Hardware store. Thank you. There's not a readily available hardware store within walking distance. So much for that.
You know,
you're the wing nut. I mean, got me. We're all goblins. Edgefit says, I build on initial ideas, so if I have no instruction or too much, I shut down and become useless.
So, but what I'm hearing is that between me and Edgefit, we make one completely functioning human being. Because Edgefit operates solely in the middle. I operate at the extremes. Like, I need, like, minute detail instructions or literally nothing. Like, that's what I need. Barely. Fair enough. Yeah, because like I think it's one of those things where like if I'm given like partial instructions, then in somewhere in my brain I get the idea that there is a particular way this has to be done, and then I just like laser focus on that, but then I don't have the specific instructions that I need to get it done in the specific way I think it needs to get done, and so then I'm just like I cannot operate because I feel, and so yeah.
Still no ability to read notes between
that's
us, Lucas.
Fair. That's true. That's completely fair. But yeah, no. If I have perfect, minute, detailed instructions, I can work because I'm like, all right, now I have something to like guide what I'm doing. But if I have no instruction whatsoever, I can also work because I'm like, okay, cool. Then I can just kind of do whatever I want. Great.
That makes that time that we managed to assemble an entire office chair with only half a set of instructions written mostly in Chinese, frankly, very impressive, I think.
That's, I think, a different type of thing because that's not really like use your best judgment kind of thing. That's more like putting pieces together, and if they fit, where it makes sense, and if you have some left over and it still works, you don't have any left over.
Hey, didn't we have a few leftover parts? Just like, no, we didn't.
Nope.
What?
It's like
I keep.
If you have parts left over at the end, that's called efficiency, my friend. That's called efficiency.
No, I gotta tear it all down again. I have to build it up again and see where those parts went because I get obsessed about that. Probably to my detriment, but
if you saw the spare parts, no, you didn't. Exactly.
SpongeBob? SpongeBob SquarePants?
We make a lot of reference to him around here.
Oh, spare parts. I heard
SpongeBob spare part.
I heard something completely different. My apologies. I apologize. Oh, I mean, I don't apologize. We love to hear when I say silly stuff. So,
oh my god, boy. SpongeBob Spare Parts is like the Walmart brand knockoff of SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yeah, something I got off Wish or something. I hear you.
Yeah, I just asked somebody on Fiverr to write me a script for a season of a children's animated show, and this is what I got.
Yeah.
Oh god. Yeah. I'm saving SpongeBob Spare Parts for the next time we do a Bad Pitches episode of Ramblemancy.
Yes, absolutely.
It could work. It could work.
I feel like that's a good pitch. Like, you know. SpongeBob Spare Parts is the name of his only fan.
That's
oh my gosh.
Towel Robert Spare Parts.
Well said. Well done.
Also very good.
Oh
My
yeah, good
God.
old Talbert. Oh, geek out 6-year-old me. Hey, Dad, where do these screws go? Dad, here, let me see them. I give them to him. Dad throws them in a can. Done. God, that's so. Oh, that's peak dad energy right there. Like, I know exactly the like old giant 28-ounce tomato suit, like tomato can that's been sitting in the garage probably for like 5 years that holds all of like the spare parts and like nuts and screws
Yeah.
and everything else. Yeah, no, I know exactly the giant can of which he's
A
Or
couple
the
of
like
washers.
the old Folgers can.
Yeah.
oh yeah, the
Over
old
here
Folgers
in
cans.
my house, because of who we are as people, it was old Bustelo cans. So like old cans of
Mm-hmm.
Bustelo coffee.
Yeah,
That's
Edgefitz has got to put them in the biscuit tins. Yep.
mhm.
Yep,
Mhm.
yep, yep, yep.
Yep.
Biscuit tins are like perfectly made to store like spare like bits of construction bobs in. So
Mhm. Yeah. Coffee cans are good because they have like the plastic lids, right? And so you can like
Mhm.
drive the screw through the plastic lid, so you know what it is from the outside.
yep,
Yep.
restaurant sized green bean cans. Yep, it's that or knitting supplies. Yeah, you open it up. All right, am I getting the screws or am I getting the clothing repair kit?
Yeah. Man, I'm trying to think of like, I don't think I've revisited any other media recently. Like nothing that I haven't, nothing that's like from way back. That's not true. I did replay through all of the Jedi Knight series of games, but
Mm-hmm.
like
Ooh, I do.
that's not so much like a. I don't know if I would consider that replaying after like revisiting or whatever, because I do sort of play those every like year or so. So I don't know
Yeah.
if that counts.
Um, the the one that I just thought of was I tried to go back and reread the last like big fantasy epic series that I read was uh, the Stormlight Archive series
Mm-hmm.
by Brandon Sanderson. And I tried to go back and like start rereading those to get hyped for some of the new ones, or for like a couple of new ones that had come out over the course of the last few years, and I was just like, oh, oh no, I don't have 1,000-page books in me anymore. I'm not gonna do this.
Yeah.
I started and I was just like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Respect to anybody who like still loves to read those like 1,000-page fantasy epics, like 250 of which are appendices.
I genuinely believe that we can train ourselves back up to that. Like I don't think
Mhm.
it's gone forever. I think you can train yourself back to that, to being able to do it. I believe it.
Yeah, yeah. I think I could. I think part of me also is just also looks at the amount of time that I would spend reading like 1,000-page book, um, and and sees it better used reading more of other like more of other books too,
Mhm.
like reading a few like 250, 300-page books, because the thing with me, at least like for those long books, is they tend to be like much more of an investment. Like it's harder. Like I used to, and kind of when I am kind of in the beat of reading again, like I will pick up and put down a couple of books at once. Like I'll read chapters of Gideon until I've kind of like burn myself out on Tamsin Muir, and then I'll pick up a cool little sci-fi series that I have several books of sitting out there that are pretty small and bite-sized. But like with big books like that, it's harder to kind of like pick them up and put them down because there's so much to kind of still keep in my head about what's going on and everything else. So
Mhm. Yeah. 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 Huh. Sorry, my brain just went to a whole bunch of different places all at the same time, and they
Everywhere,
yep, and all
all of
those
the
thoughts
time.
collided. There's a giant train wreck on the tracks. It's a real mess out there. Like you don't want to go looking over there.
I'm worried about what John's
I
doing.
know what John's
I'm just
doing.
cracking my window a little bit because it's warm in here.
All right, if you say so.
Actually, I took the Skyway that time. We have stairs and elevator at the Skyway. So.
Sorry,
I didn't have anything to respond to that.
I'm catching up with chat here. Yeah, I'm just thinking about like, I mean, I've said it many times before. My thing with reading these days is that like, reading gets my creative brain going, and then when my creative brain is going, then I'm like creating or wanting to create, and so then I like get really wrapped up in that, and then I'm not like focusing on the reading, and it's rough.
Are you so like Asia Fit's talking about audiobooks are the only way for me, and I get that
Mm-hmm.
because like I can listen to something and do stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the thing is, I don't have a CD player.
Right. Yeah.
So I guess I have to find the things I like somewhere on a different platform on on the internet.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I listened much of what I actually consumed of CR Critical Role 2. I actually consumed while I was working a job that involved me driving and sitting on fucking desolate highways for hours at a time in a car. Like most of that was actually spent listening to like 70 or so episodes of Critical Role 2 over a summer. And so like I don't really have I work from home. I do not have a commute. So like I a lot of people like will tend to listen to audiobooks like when they're driving from place to place, and I don't drive very much. I know I can fit them kind of in elsewhere. I just have like I haven't quite figured out if or how I would fit audiobooks into my life.
Yeah. Yeah. I yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I have since I got wireless headphones, I have started just like I'll push play on like an episode of an actual play that I want to catch up on, and then I'll walk around the house doing my chores, and that has worked quite well for me.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, especially like it's especially hard like for me reading is especially difficult if I'm also in the middle of like a hyperfixation. So, yeah, it's especially bad that way. Um like yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, my brain is in like free fall right now, so
I'm free.
okay.
Freeman and I on the exact same wavelength.
yeah.
Oh.
On a super unrelated note. Okay, this is me now asking a question of everybody. This is so on a super unrelated note. I've been considering because I've been running as many people by which I mean literally anybody who like is unlucky enough to be cornered by me about it for more than 2 seconds knows I've been running like a sandbox Chult campaign.
Wait, you're
Using
running
the
a game in Chult?
shut the fuck up. Using
How's it going?
use the Tomb of Annihilation module that I have sort of been sort of retooling for my own purposes. Um, and I've been considering doing like campaign diaries of it, like Matt Colville used to do for his.
Oh yeah.
I've been considering doing that, and I'm curious if anybody would watch them if I did that, because like, yeah, I'm thinking about it. I don't know if I'm going to. They would probably not be very edited, but they also probably would not be long videos. Um, but yeah, I'm thinking about doing it. I just have to figure out where I'm going to host them because I don't think I want to host them on my personal YouTube because that's mostly for like me and viewing. But I haven't quite figured out where I'm going to put them yet. But I'm also not going to put them on the rule of lore one because it has nothing to do with rule of lore. So, I don't know. I'll figure it out. Oh no, Rose,
God, and
did you?
making a third YouTube account.
Oh God, I know. That's the thing. I don't know if
Oh,
I want to do that. Um,
oh,
Rose,
gracious.
Rose.
Rose.
Yep, that's what I thought. That's well, there it is. I knew that's where this was going. I just figured I'd let it play out. Um, I knew that's where this was going.
Slowly draws the band sword. Rose, you're correct. You are a delight. A
Yeah.
delight.
To
I
explain,
must have
Ellie,
missed it. I must have missed
it's
it.
in the Discord. It's in the Discord.
It's in the Ramblemancy channel in Discord. Join the
Um,
Discord, friends, so that you too can be privy to memes that will
Ah,
shoot you a
I
puddle in your
see.
chair.
to explain, Ellie, basically, like I'm running a D&D game, that I've taken one of the pre-written modules and I've sort of retooled parts of it for my own purposes, um, and am currently running that. Not a streamed game, but I've been considering, since I didn't like record them anywhere, like the sessions, I still wanted some way to like sort of look back on them, um, and so my thought was basically doing like video campaign diaries for those, just sort of like one, like sort of talking, like summarizing what happened in the previous session, and then two, maybe doing a little bit of like conversation, like just sort of talking a little bit about like some of the cool things that like I think the way Matt Colville did his was like he would like summarize and then he would sort of talk a little bit about like certain things that like just sort of like not techniques, that's the wrong word, that makes it sound way too technical, but that's not what I mean, but like more just like things that he did during the session, things that his players did, and like using that as like a, I don't know, a tool for like anybody else who wanted to like run games or something. I don't know. I haven't really thought it through other than just like I got campaign diary. That's as far as I got. So, um, just pictured you talking into a tape recorder. I mean, more or less. Like it'd be me talking into a camera, pretending I was talking to a room full of people. Um, so yeah. What if, yes, geek outs, I'm listening. Hear me out. Okay. You have my full attention.
Mm-hmm.
Green screen. Okay. Is that the whole idea or is there more? Fireplace. Okay, I see where. Okay, all right. I see where you're going with this.
Bathrobe,
Chats.
big glass of
Fireplace
wine.
chats. Yeah. Okay. All right. I see. I see. I see where this is. Okay. I understand. Bathrobe. I have one of those. Um, house coat. Now I don't think I have one of those. I do have a blazer though. Hey.
Hello, hello.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Oh my god. Arliel, thank you so much for the bits. Hello and welcome. Welcome. Thanks so much for the follow. We're sort of wrapping up here at the end. We're at the point where we're not really talking about anything anymore. We're just sort of riffing at this point.
Also, hi, Earliel. It's good to see you here. My favorite thing about Twitch communities is like finding somebody and then watching like various members of various communities slowly like trickle sideways into other ones. It's my
favorite thing about Twitch communities is drawing them as a Venn diagram and then watching that Venn diagram slowly become a circle.
Yeah. Well, like, and also I love watching the way that the lore, like from one or the other, just slowly ekes out into the other ones, because like there was good zone in our server and then it spread out into several other servers that I inhabit, and now somebody, because of like a silly typo that they made in a work email and mentioned, now in my personal Discord server it's good after instead of good zone.
Good.
which is so self-referential on so many levels that absolutely no one outside that Discord server will ever get it, and it's very fun.
Corkboard. Amethyst, get out. There will be no corkboards on my stream or on my
Someone say
video.
corkboard. I can go.
I can promise you one thing and one thing only about my stream or about my videos. There will be no corkboards. That I will promise you.
I just had an idea that I thought. Never mind. Okay. After stream.
What does that mean, Amethyst? What does that mean in this context? What exactly are you referring to? Thank
I'm sorry.
Geekouts.
What does this mean?
I think you know.
I'm still stuck on 50 Shades of Frey.
Yeah, it's good, right?
Still, I'm gonna go into. I have to go. I'm booking a recovery meeting, and
Let's consider it cork. I see. Okay, well that explains everything.
Yes, good.
Anyway, yeah, I think.
Speaking of Frey. That corkboard idea would be a really good bit for Mason's character, I think.
Yeah,
that's all I'm gonna say.
I feel like Mason has the sci-fi equivalent of a
he literally
real
does.
Exactly.
That's canon. That's canon.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean that. Like, I'm not making that canon. I'm saying that is literally has already been established canon. Yes.
Yeah. Whether. Yeah. Exactly.
No, made of wine corks. Not wine corks. Whiskey bottle corks. Do those have corks?
Sometimes.
Some of them do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Makes it even more impressive. The fact that they don't all have corks makes it even more impressive that the corkboard is made of whiskey corks.
I'm sure like Lagavulin has real corks.
Probably.
I don't know.
Yes.
I'm sure the original. Yeah.
I think that is correct. But he also, I believe, had one in his room in the base, I believe.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah.
Mason had one in the base. Rip. Maybe, I don't know, and one in his old apartment on Krenai for sure.
Mm-hmm. Correct. That is significantly more than a stretch, Amethyst. That was
more like a contortionist move.
Yeah, that was a lot. That was a bit of a reach there. Anyway, yeah.
All right. I think we have just about wrapped things up for this evening of conversation.
Yeah. All that to say, I might post some videos somewhere. I don't know where yet. I'll figure it out. And do some. The thing about that is we're already 3 sessions in, about to be 4, and if I want to do it, I got to start like right now so that I don't forget any of the stuff that happened, and I can actually like,
True.
Be
True
on there. We'll go to Pinterest and find some nice white lady to give us a long story about corkboards made of wine corks and how her mother also did it before showing us how to make it, and she's using Elmer's glue probably.
Probably.
Oh my God, Cole!
It's a better use of Elmer's glue than what I used back in the day. I'd make it look like old skin. I'd peel off and show, hey, look, my skin's coming off. Anyway, bye.
Everyone knew that kid. Everyone knew that kid in elementary school. There was always one.
Well,
no.
That's all the time we have for this evening's Ramblemancy, which got considerably ramblier there at the end. But yeah, I was thinking, was that kid? Mm-hmm. I think everyone on some level was that kid. But yeah, we are gonna go. So, ooh, hold on. Try not to sneeze. 1 second. Give me like 2 seconds. It's fine. Okay, I'm okay.
Anyway, if you enjoyed this episode of Ramblemancy, you can keep the conversation going in our Discord. It's a great place to keep up with all of the announcements and anything that's going on with Rule of Lore so that you can hear about our programming, updates to it, And just checking out fun little photoshops of jokes made on stream and stuff like that. It's a great place to be. It's also a great place to be wished good morning and good zone by just an absolute army of lovely people every single morning and slash or zone.
Also, if you join
right
the
there.
Discord, prepare to be just absolutely bombarded with like the welcome stickers.
Oh yeah, no, people love smashing that button. I think frankly it's a roulette for everyone hoping to get the peach.
I agree.
The little peach who's just like so truly we love peach sticker. It's a race to get the peach. Yeah. Correct.
Yeah.
If you would like to support what we do here at Rule of Lore, the best place to do that is over on our Patreon. You can get access to announcements about our upcoming content and programming a little bit in advance, and you can also unlock a variety of very cool content on there. We have at some of the lower tiers access to the kind of media like we've been talking about tonight, all of media that we've been into lately. Once a month we upload a cool list of that you can check out, and we also twice a month put out these very fun lists of themed TTRPG toolkits for GMs and players to kind of use to slip into their games as you please. We have a whole lot of genres, and backing at the $5 tier unlocks like a huge backlog of those. So highly recommend checking that out.
Yeah. And then of course, I don't know why we don't say this more often. We probably should. But the links to those things are in chat right now, and if you're on YouTube, the links are in the description, where there are where you will find links to anything here on YouTube. The description. Yes. Also, as many people in the chat have pointed out, do the survey. Do the Patreon survey. If you are part of the Patreon, here's some conditions under which you should do the Patreon survey. If you are one of our patrons, do the Patreon survey. It'll help us make it better. If you are not a member of our Patreon, do the survey. It'll help us make it better. If you have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, we have this Patreon survey that will help us make Patreon better, and you should do it. If you are if you are here right now watching this and have not already done the survey, you should do the survey. If you're not here right now but watching it at some point in this hypothetical future, you should do the survey. Mm-hmm. Also, very important to note, this is actually super important. You need to do the survey. So
it's seriously, it would be super helpful.
Yeah.
Super
if you're watching this on YouTube and you hear us saying this thing about the survey, go and look up what that means, and then go and fill out the survey.
Yes.
Yeah. Sure. If you've ever like kind of walked out of your front door on that first like very crisp fall day where the air kind of like stings your lungs a bit and you're like, oh yeah, man, I remember like baking cookies and jumping in leaf piles and shit, fill out the Patreon survey.
If you've ever done a cartwheel and you sprained your ankle and also pulled your thigh muscle at the same damn time, but opposite leg, so it was like your left thigh muscle, but it was your right ankle, then fill out that survey. I promise you. I'm going to shut up now.
It has nothing to do with what happened to you, but you should still do it.
While you're laid up, fill out the Patreon survey.
Yes, Geekouts. You. Specifically you. And also, you. That's right, you. The person I'm pointing at right now. You know. Just figured I'd... Yeah. Anyway, that's what we got. So, yeah, that's all we're doing. Just a quick reminder... there will be no In Too Deep this week. So this Tuesday, there will not be a stream, but we will be back with In Too Deep on, is that the 22nd? I believe it is, the 22nd.
Yes.
So,
22nd.
With special surprises, which I will let them decide, the cast decide if they want to divulge ahead of time or not. That's, we'll let them decide. So you may be hearing about a very special surprise, something or other, or you might not. You might just have to tune in on the 22nd and find out. Then, let's see. Obviously, Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time here on this very channel. We will be back to Infinite Horizon, our sci-fi spacefaring supers TTRPGs run in the Cypher system by Monte Cook Games. You will find us coming back to that, continuing our final season. And of course, a week from today on this very show, 7 p.m. Pacific time on Friday, we will be back here with more Ramblemancy, with a topic to be determined, or perhaps not. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what we're
We
gonna
can say with this show.
But yeah. So,
Thank you, Ellie, for reminding us. It's this survey that I've just linked in chat just now.
that's correct.
Survey about Evergreen.
Anyway, hopefully we will see you on Wednesday for Infinite Horizon. But if not, fill out the Patreon survey, and we'll see you next time you decide to come fill out the Patreon survey. Good night and good zone, everybody.